Welcome to Cold Brew Finance's U.S. End-of-Week Deep Dive, covering market moves in indexes, sectors, stocks, and global markets for the week ending Friday, June 26, 2026. Kicking things off, I'm Max Profit. The U.S. stock market showed mixed signals last week. The Dow 30 Index gained 0.6%, closing at 51,876.11, marking 3 consecutive weeks of gains. In contrast, the S&P 500 Index fell 1.9% to end at 7,354.3. The Nasdaq Composite Index experienced a significant decline, dropping 4.6% to 25,297.62. Market breadth was varied. The Dow 30 Index saw more weekly advances than declines, while the S&P 500 Index had 303 advances and 184 declines. The Nasdaq Composite Index was almost evenly split, with 1,494 advances and 1,424 declines. The S&P 400 MidCap Index had an impressive upturn, gaining 0.65% with a new record close at 3,816.31. Meanwhile, the Russell 2000 Index also posted a record high, closing 1% higher at 3,010.8. Both indices reflect a very strong positive trend. Long-term annual returns highlight the Nasdaq Composite Index's impressive growth, with a 10-year ARR of 18.3%. The Russell 2000 Index also showed a solid 10-year ARR at 10.3%. Both indices maintain strong upward trends over extended periods.
Checking out best and worst performing equities, I'm Penny Stock. Triller soared this week, ending at 4.46 with a staggering price change of 4.30. This reflects a massive rise of 2,740%, confirming a positive trend. Ishalgo Inc. also shined, climbing 115% to close at 3.87, continuing an upward trajectory for 2 consecutive weeks with strong volatility. Among the top performers, Triller not only led with its impressive one-week total return of 2,740%, but also maintained a solid month-to-date return. Nuvectis Pharma also recorded a 3-week consecutive rise and achieved an all-time high, showcasing a very strong positive trend. In terms of annual performance, Nuvectis Pharma reports a significant 252.66% return over the past year. Meanwhile, Focus Universal saw declines with a 97.36% drop. Despite short-term gains, long-term perspectives show varied experiences. Turning to big-cap stocks, Bio-Techne is on a roll with a closing price of 71 and a 22.5% increase. Looking further, it continues to rise for 6 consecutive weeks, showing a very strong positive trend. Examining daily and total returns, AbbVie reached new all-time highs with a weekly total return of 17%. Meanwhile, Molina Healthcare recorded a similar upward trajectory with strong positive trends. Focusing on long-term returns, Molina Healthcare experienced an annual return of 21.07% over 10 years. However, Charles River Labs continues to benefit from a steady long-term growth track with a 168.51% total return in the same time frame. On the downside, PS International plunged 87.5% to a new all-time low of 1.45, breaking out downward after 3 days of being flat. Another poor performer, Mobile Health Network Solutions, saw its 7th consecutive weekly decline, closing at a new low. In the worst performing category, Mobile Health Network Solutions continues to slide, showing a striking -85.3% total return in a week. Liff logged a 3-week losing streak, hitting new lows with significant negative trends. In this week's stock market, PS International recorded a drastic closing price drop of 87.5% at 1.45. A new all-time low was set, and the company is showing a very strong negative trend. Meanwhile, Mobile Health Network Solutions dropped 85.3%, closing at 0.54 and marking its 7th consecutive losing week. Turning to big cap stocks, ON Semiconductor saw a significant decrease, closing at 90.65, a fall of 25.4%, marked by mixed trends and a negative volatility spell. In contrast, Western Digital recorded a new all-time high last week, yet experienced a decrease of 21.4%, closing at 586.45. The big cap highlights continue with Oracle closing down 19.4% at 148.53, battling a very strong negative trend. Albemarle also faced a downward fall of 16.6%, closing at 133.70 with its 2nd consecutive downward closing week and a mixed negative trend. In terms of annual performance, Western Digital shows a robust past with 1-year total returns reaching 823.39%. Similarly, Qualcomm depicts good performance with a 3-year total return of 62.38%. Despite current setbacks, there's historical strength here.
And now onto U.S. sector performance. The healthcare sector recorded a new all-time high close at 1,873.48, up 137.8 points. It shows a very strong positive trend. Similarly, the real estate sector hit a new 1-year high, closing at 288.8 with upward volatility evident. The utilities sector continues its strong upward streak, closing higher for a 3rd consecutive week, with a 17.66-point gain at 469.87. In contrast, the consumer defensive sector experienced a moderate rise of 14.10 points, while the energy sector remained the weakest, rising slightly by 5.93 points. The market breadth in key sectors reveals significant weekly advances. The healthcare sector led with 618 advances and hit a new high. Real estate followed, advancing strongly with 169 weekly gains, while the utilities sector consistently advanced with 61. However, the consumer defensive sector's modest gains were offset by 113 monthly declines, showcasing a mixed trend. Meanwhile, the energy sector posted fewer advances compared to declines over the week. Examining total and daily returns, the healthcare sector stands out with a notable 7.9% weekly return, demonstrating substantial growth. Real estate and utilities both recorded encouraging 3.9% increases. The consumer defensive sector showed modest movements, while the energy sector exhibited a slight 0.7% weekly return against a negative monthly trend. Long-term returns highlight a strong performance from the healthcare sector, with a 133.54% 10-year total return and an 8.85% ARR. The real estate sector posted a more modest long-term ARR of 3.84%. Meanwhile, the utilities sector showed consistent long-term growth with a 12.1% 3-year ARR. The energy sector led 1-year total returns at 25.75%, while the consumer defensive sector recorded moderate long-term gains.
In healthcare stocks, Bio-Techne closed at 71, gaining 13.6. This marks 6 weeks of upward momentum with a substantial 22.5% increase. Their trend is very strong and positive. Molina Healthcare also shows a strong upward trend, closing at 229.74, up by 34.37, reflecting a 17.5% rise. Bio-Techne exhibits a significant 22.5% weekly return, boasting a continued upward streak over 6 weeks. Similarly, AbbVie recorded an all-time high close at 253.35, up 36.86. Notably, Charles River Labs had strong weekly returns with robust upward volatility, ending at 215.75, up 30.75. Over a decade span, Molina Healthcare showcased remarkable long-term gains, achieving over 356.7%, while Charles River Labs increased their value by more than 168.5%. Both reflect enduring positive trends, with impressive upward movements throughout the years.
The week ended poorly for several sectors, with significant declines. The communication services sector led with a decline of 6.2%, closing at 440.68. Meanwhile, the technology sector also saw a drop, falling 5.3% to end at 6,509.40 amid mixed trends across the board. In last week's market breadth, the communication services sector exhibited one-day declines, outweighed by advances over the week. Meanwhile, the technology sector experienced a noteworthy imbalance with over 400 one-day declines, illustrating a troubling trend. The consumer cyclical sector, despite showing strong negative trends, had more advances than declines. Analyzing total and daily returns over the past week, the communication services sector lost 6.2%, indicating a significant decrease. In similar fashion, the technology sector's returns also dropped by 5.3%, while year-to-date performance remains modestly positive at 14.52%. Reviewing total and annual returns, it is notable that over the past decade, the technology sector boasts a 10-year return of 835%, illustrating robust long-term growth. Conversely, the communication services sector showed a comparably weak decade with only a 149.5% return.
In the communication services sector, key players are on a downtrend. Alphabet closed at 337.39, dropping 30.64, reflecting an 8.3% decline. Walt Disney also saw a significant slide, with a strong negative trend, closing 5.10 lower at 98.79. Conversely, Meta platforms, Netflix, and Fox all recorded new one-year lower closes, signaling a very strong negative trend and downward volatility. Examining total and daily returns, Alphabet's one-week total return fell 8.3%, while its year-to-date climb provides some relief. Walt Disney and Meta platforms are similarly hit, showing strong negative weekly returns. Netflix continues its downward spree with 5 consecutive weeks of losses. Fox trails close behind, exhibiting strong negative trends. Over longer horizons, Alphabet shines with a robust 10-year return despite recent losses. Meanwhile, Walt Disney and Meta platforms show weaker long-term gains. Netflix's streak of yearly declines persists, and Fox endures a moderate negative annual return over the past year.
Thanks for watching. I'm Max Profit, along with my AI co-host, Penny Stock. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Cold Brew Finance is an experimental project with market reports written, narrated, and delivered totally by AI, with market data kindly provided by financialmodelingprep.com. Always seek professional financial advice before making any investment decisions. Check into the channel daily for coverage of stocks, crypto, currency, and commodities. Thanks for watching.